Welcome to the Government News Brief for Monday, February 13, 2017. In the news, Guyana to host CARICOM's 28th Intersessional Meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government under the chairmanship of President David Granger. The government is formulating an action plan to achieve 100% vaccination coverage and new wastewater plant to be constructed in the city. Stay tuned for these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur, and here are the details. Guyana will host CARICOM's 28th Intersessional Meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government under the chairmanship of President David Granger on February 16 and 17. Tiffany Rodius has the details.
The CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, Crime and Security and Correspondent Banking are among the issues to be addressed when the 15 heads of state meet later this week. The CARICOM 28th Intersessional Meeting will be held at the CARICOM headquarters at Liniandale. CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque says the heads of government will be updated on the status of the review of the CSME.
There has been significant progress with respect to the single market, while more needs to be done in respect to the single economy. There's also been some progress in the productive sectors.
The review was ordered when the heads of government met last July. The CSME remains the region's best vehicle for economic growth and development, Ambassador LaRocque contends. Meanwhile, the heads of state will also seek to address trans-border crime at the two-day meeting. The drafts of the Arrest Warrant Treaty and Return and Sharing of Assets Treaty will be examined, Ambassador LaRocque notes.
Both of those instruments are being negotiated simultaneously, and both of them are in a very advanced stage of deliberations.
Also expected to be addressed at the meeting is how CARICOM will advance its critical issues with the new United States administration, enhancing tourism in the region, and developing a roadmap for ICT growth. For the Government News Brief, Tiffany Rogers.
An action plan to be formulated to ensure Guyana achieves 100% vaccination coverage. More in this Gabreila Patram report.
Under the Ministry of Public Health, Guyana is set to achieve 100% vaccination coverage via the expanded program on immunization EPI. Several regions, particularly those in the Hinterland, have embraced the EPI, contributing to over 90% coverage rate. Chief Medical Officer, Ministry of Public Health, Dr. Shamdir Prasad, says that more focus needs to be placed on yellow fever vaccination. He notes that a significant number of cases has been recorded in some South American countries.
Looking at the record, the hinterland regions surprised us this year, and this time around, and both Region 9 and some of the other hinterland regions have really started to demonstrate that they can do the job of providing full coverage for their regions for immunization. So congratulations, Region 9 and all of the hinterland regions. I think we identified Region 10 for special mention also. They have done pretty well. And congratulations, Region 4, for once again challenging Region 6, who has been for many, many years at the helm of coverage.
The Department of Maternal and Child Health will over the next 2 days examine data with regards to the EPI and how 100% coverage can be achieved. Minister of Public Health Valdo Lawrence points out that progress must be critically examined along with challenges that are continually faced by healthcare professionals within the program. The minister explains that these quarterly reviews will see the formulation of a comprehensive action plan. This plan will be used to encourage desirable results.
In designing any system or plan, the importance of data cannot be underestimated. In the expanded immunization program, we need to know the numbers we are targeting in each of our regions so that our stock is never depleted. It means, therefore, that we must always remain one step ahead, that our procurement process for supply of vaccine is efficient and continue to operate in that manner, and that we are prepared to effectively deal with any threat or outbreak. We must also ensure that these vaccines can easily reach our hinterland regions.
Minister Lawrence points out that there is a need to ensure that there is consistent surveillance in all regions. The mandate of the Maternal and Child Health Department is to reduce the incidence of maternal and child mortality through preventative care. For the Government News Brief, Gabreila Patram.
A wastewater treatment plant is to be constructed in the city to provide the necessary capacity to address residential and commercial growth. Seneca Thorne tells us more.
The Guyana Water Incorporated GWI will advance the design and construction of the wastewater treatment plant for Georgetown within the next 5 years. Planning and Implementation Director Ramchan Jailal says the company has already commenced increasing its technical capacity to deliver on this objective.
We are also working with UNESCO. Last month we had engineer coming from UNESCO, professor actually, who has delivered wastewater training for more than 20 engineers, not only from GWI, but from agencies such as Central Housing and Planning Authority, the Mayor and City Council, the EPA, and Ministry of Communities. And so we have engineers that are trained in the design and assessment of wastewater treatment plants.
The design of the new wastewater facility will address the increased demands being placed on the current sewage system. Jailal says the current system is unable to process the increased amount of effluent and wastewater from the city.
When it was designed, because there was a very high dilution factor of the water around and the amount of sewage coming out, it would dissipate within the river very easy. But now the demand on the system has increased because of the increased population, the increased amount of restaurants and hotels and transient population within and going in and out of Georgetown. The demand on the system has increased. And
GWI is also examining the construction of wastewater treatment system for the new government housing schemes.
Instead of constructing septic tanks, we are looking at designing small sewage system which they can connect to. Instead of them having the septic tanks and the water goes into the drains and then the mosquitoes breed, we are looking at these new schemes to construct those wastewater treatment facilities so that of course we're looking at safety, we're looking at health, we're looking at making our country much safer. And so that's part of our work.
Wastewater is the water that goes down sinks, toilets and drains. Wastewater treatment plants treat water before it is discharged into the rivers or oceans. The process safeguards the water quality of the channels into which the water is discharged.
The Hinterland Electrification Company Incorporated, HECI, is working to have a long overdue transformer deployed to Port Kaituma shortly. Gabreila Patram has the details.
During 2016, 2 transformers were procured from Madia in Region 8 and Port Kaituma in Region 1. To date, the one earmarked for Port Kaituma has not yet been deployed. Chief Executive Officer for HECI, Horace Williams, appeared before the Public Accounts Committee today to answer several questions raised about the state of the Hinterland Electrification project. He explains there were difficulties in executing the project.
The one for Port Kaituma is not yet in place. We're experiencing difficulty in getting equipment to offload the transformer at the wharf. It's 6 tons. Previously, we had an arrangement with a private company with heavy-duty equipment to offload it for us. Apparently, that company is not in existence anymore. So we're trying to make other arrangements.
The CEO points out to the committee that the arrangements were in place to offload the transformer at the wharf in Port Kaituma, but it is time-consuming to have the equipment deployed in the region using the government's ferry or a private barge.
The issue with that is the turnaround time. For the government ferry, it takes at least a week for the turnaround time for that. So if we send any equipment from town, it will be there for a week or more before it comes back.
Meanwhile, Williams explains that the company with which the project was initiated is no longer in operation. He says HECI is exploring other measures to have the transformer deployed to the region as quickly as possible.
We in talks with private sector miner up there that has equipment going in shortly, and to offload at Port Kaitumo Wharf. And so we'll coordinate with that miner to offload equipment at Port Kaitumo during the same time.
In December 2015, a contract was awarded for the procurement of 2 electrical transformers for Madia and Port Kaituma. The units, which cost a total of $6 million, are part of the infrastructure needed to upgrade the electricity service provided to the 2 hinterland communities. For the Government News Brief, Gabreila, Patram.
Teachers and students will soon be trained to create music using technology. More from Isaiah Braithwaite.
The National Music School has been able to acquire a grant to introduce a program that allows for the creation of music with the use of a software program. The grant was acquired from the Canadian Development Bank through the Basic Needs Trust Fund. Administrator for the music school, Tyndall, says that the program will allow for persons who might not know to use instruments to create music.
I might be creative, I might be talented, I might hear stuff in my head, but I don't want to learn to play a guitar, or I don't want to learn to play the piano. But I am tech savvy, I know how to use a laptop, I know how to use an iPad. And so we're going to now give you the tools so that you could use that same instrument that you use to play games or to do your assignment, to do your research now. That'll become your workstation, and you could produce music, you could build tracks, you could record people.
The program is expected to be rolled out in March, where training will be provided for both students and teachers.
We're going to be providing training to youths as well as teachers. So we'll train teachers from the various regions. And the good thing about this is that, the government has been investing in ensuring that every school has a computer lab. So they already have what we could say is the basic instrument that's required. They have a computer lab. And so it's now for just about once the teachers get the training, they go back and they have somewhere where they could teach this program.
According to Tyndall, one of the aims of the program is to empower youths who can in the future become entrepreneurs by establishing their own recording studios. Isaiah Braithwaite for the Government News Brief.
We have come to the end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on Gina's website. Gina has an active Facebook page, and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be updated as the news unfolds. You can also visit our website and YouTube channel. Do join us tomorrow when Gina brings you another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur. Thank you for watching.